the dogs. All right, fabulous. Welcome, everyone. This is Gail. Hi, Gail Nicholson here, your metaphysicist and resilience coach, back for another episode of the Corona Spotlight 2020. Thank you so much for tuning in and joining us. Today, we're going to talk to a friend of mine that got over a year ago when both of us kind of started doing a little Facebook Lives and testing the waters and stuff. I was really enamored of what she does, and she has taught me so much about this skill that trauma has developed called in me called being an empath. I didn't have any idea about how much impact that aspect of my personality was having on my life until I started listening to a lot of Trisha's lives and her her tools for minimizing the detrimental impact of being an empath in today's society. So I want to introduce to you right now Ms. Trisha Dyka, empath, intuitive, and best-selling author, Reiki master, and a list of other things that help the world. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me, Gail. And I have to say, thank you. I'm really glad that I was able to help. And I'm so glad that you said that because it really made my day.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear it. Well, the Corona Spotlight kind of rose up out of an epiphany that I had when, things started getting shut down for quarantine, and how many of the people that have helped me and contributed to me in the past via online offerings. We're going to be just swamped with everybody going, oh my gosh, I can't do my BNI networking meeting, anybody. Nobody wants to shake hands. What am I going to do here? And I just foresaw this influx of people into the internet. And it's like, I want to give the people that have been a contribution to me kind of a leg up over all that noise that's rushing in. And you are one of the people that first and foremost came to mind because you are not just somebody who helps in what you do, but you've been a guiding light for me. You have been a way shower for me on how to build something in the online space. So I want to
Mm.
thank you for that before we even get into what you actually do, right? Which is amazing stuff. So let's start with first of all, for those who don't know, can you define for me what you're talking about when you say an empath? What is an empath?
Yes, an empath is somebody who actually feels everything that's going on. And this is a perfect example, the virus right now. They're picking up on tremendous fear, anxiety, overwhelm, uncertainty. And believe it or not, there's hope in there. There's a lot of hope in there as well. But if you don't understand it, you could feel like these emotions, one after the other, and you're taking it on as yours. So you're truly feeling what the collective consciousness is feeling right now. And for example, like Saturday night was super heavy.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember putting a post out going, how's everybody doing? And like there are some days that just seem to be more heavy because there are other factors. But for empaths, you could pick things up emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
Then you can also pick things up physically. And physically is passing somebody on the street or getting a headache, being tired. I remember a perfect example. I was in the mall and all of a sudden my one hip hurt so badly that I was like, I'm going to hit the floor in the mall.
Hmm.
And I stopped for a second and I'm like, no, no. I'm like, this is not mine. I was fine
Mm-hmm.
20 seconds ago. And as quick as it came, because I acknowledged it and I acknowledged that it wasn't mine, it immediately left. But to get to that point, there's a big learning curve of what is yours and what belongs to everybody else. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it really does. And before I started following your stuff, I didn't have an awareness of this. I just
Mm,
knew for me, for example, that I loved to go to concerts, but I could not stand to be in the crowds. So if
yeah.
say for instance we went to like in Michigan, it was Pine Knob, you know those amphitheaters that have the rows of seating and then they've got the lawn area.
Yes.
I couldn't handle being in the lawn. There was uh, it, my moods would swing so fast, and I would get ornery and agitated and angry and aggressive for no reason. Yeah,
Hmm.
and I was a dream catcher for every whim that I passed by. And I thought it was just that I didn't like not being able to see over other people's shoulders because I'm short. You know, I felt claustrophobic. I thought this was all because I felt claustrophobic. And then after seeing some of your videos and learning some of the tools, which, as an aside, guys, she's got a great, great ebook of tools that you're going to want to get after this. But back to my story for now. After I started understanding that I was picking up on other people's vibrations, whether it was thoughts or feelings or physical manifestations, then I was able to actually look at, okay, this is interesting. It's not mine. And the first place that I know people want to go with that is, okay, how do I protect myself? How do I put myself in a bubble so these things
Yes.
don't come at me, right? And I know that's
Yes.
from listening to you, that's not the best way to handle it. What's a better skill to develop for that?
I, just so that everybody is aware, when I first, 10 years ago, when I first had this happen to me,
Mm-hmm.
I remember saying, I can't handle this. And I was in a Facebook group and I asked, what do you guys do? And somebody said, put yourself in a bubble, do this, do that, protect yourself, protect yourself, protect yourself. And it's with bubbles and shields. And I did this. And within 20 minutes of putting a bubble and a shield around me, I literally hit the floor, hysterical crying. And I was like,
Wow.
oh my God, this is terrible. And I tried it again, and I tried it again, and I tried it again. And every time I did it, the end result would be those shields and bubbles would implode in on me. And I finally just remember staying there one day going, good God, I can't do this one more time. I really need to figure this out because this is slowly but surely driving me demented.
Mm-hmm.
And
So what did you do?
I got be open. And I said, be open. All right. So then from there, what I did was I was like, I need to be open and I need to let this flow through me. And the more open I became, the easier everything flowed through. Because if I stopped and I tried to focus on what I didn't want, that's exactly what came to me. I mean, people, laugh about what you focus on expands. That's the truth. So by you saying, I'm going to put this bubble on, I don't want these negative feelings. I don't want to feel this fear. Guess what? Guess what? I
That's
got more.
exactly what shows up.
Exactly what I didn't want to show up showed up and then some. And so I finally said, all right, I'm done with this. So I imagined myself literally being open so that the stuff would flow through me. Because what I learned as an empath, we are here to be the cleaners of the universe. We're here to help heal, but we're not here to suck up everybody's stuff. We're not here to hold on to it. By us being here, the universe and the earth come in and help clear that out.
Excellent. Excellent. All right. So, in a moment of overwhelm, right? When somebody's feeling something, then and they're being overwhelmed by it, literally, right?
Mhm.
What are your techniques for being open? I mean, it's kind of a scary situation to open your heart in the midst of. Is there a preventative pre-planning process that you teach people to do? Um, I know you've got your icon. I'm losing the word for
My
it. You know
empath
what?
symbol.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah,
Thank you. Yeah.
my empath symbol. Yes.
Okay.
So what I do is because the main thing is people starting to understand what energy actually belongs to them. A great way to learn this is I created the empath symbol. Now, mine happens to be a bear for emotions. You can expand upon this to collective, telepathic, and other areas. But if you've never done this before, I invite you to just try one.
Okay.
And what I did in the beginning was I picked a bear and I said to the universe, please show me my empath symbol when what I feel does not belong to me. And when I first started using it, I kid you not, 90% of what I was feeling did not belong to me.
Isn't
And
that
I was floored as to how much we pick up during the day. And it's like over and over and over. It's one thing after another. And asking the universe, you could get your symbol in so many ways. And I love to share this story because when I walked in to a Best Buy, I remember as I was walking in, my anxiety was ramping up and ramping up and ramping up. And my husband he was watching me. He's like, oh my God. And we just needed something. And I don't remember, it was computer related. That's what I do remember. And we walked in and I almost ran out. I literally almost ran out of Best Buy. And he goes, look at the TVs. And on every single TV, there was a bear. So, yes, all the TVs had a bear on it. So, doubting Debbie that I was said, prove it to me. This lady literally walked by me. She was talking to somebody. She goes, lions and tigers and bears. Oh my, I was done. Yes,
wow?
yes. So I said, all right. And I can't even tell you that ramp up of anxiety. It was here. I went straight down to here. I was like, this isn't mine. And then I was like, oh my God, how much more am I picking up that I don't even realize?
Yeah.
And I mean, the universe it sent me a bear on TV, via email, via Facebook, people talking about it. If I would be sitting down and I'm like, uh-oh, like I would immediately get a flash of a bear in my third eye. I'm like, oh, that's cute. I was like, that's cute. But if you're paying attention to how you're feeling and you're paying attention to your signs, the universe is there for you.
That is amazing. Absolutely amazing stuff. Awesome. All right. So, for other people that maybe aren't aware yet that they are, what are some of
Mm.
the signs that you look around and go, well, maybe I am one of those? But there's a continuum. There's a range. For somebody like me, I almost never receive outside of the emotional range. I pick up on people's emotions. I read a room real easy, or at least that I'm aware
Mhm.
of, right? I don't necessarily pick up on somebody's bad knee, or stuff like that. So for people who aren't really even sure if they are picking up on other people's stuff, what are some of the signs that you can point to and go, this is the sign of an empath? You're an empath if this happens.
There are a bunch of signs. Like for me, going into places with a lot of people can be overwhelming. Um, I used to not really like going into stadiums, concerts. Listen, I loved shopping, but there was only so much that I could do at like the mall. Like I would like to go, I would enjoy going to the malls just to check it out, walk around. And I would be like, God, too many people, I gotta go. And as an extrovert, I loved being around people, but there was that point where my body was like, no, we're done. We are done, done, done. Sounds, when sounds become overwhelming, and sounds like This is a perfect example for sounds. My husband has a bunch of radios. He's a ham operator. So when he's got more than one radio on and the TV on, that is sensory overload for me. That is
Right.
like, can you please shut this off, or I'll go in another room and I'm good with that. Lights get you, like fluorescent bright lights get you. Um, Violence on TV is like, you would watch it, but like your whole skin would crawl. Or you watch these commercials with the dogs or the babies that are, things like these are signs when you find yourself reacting to things.
Mm-hmm.
Smells is another big one, being super sensitive, highly sensitive to smells. I've been in grocery stores where I've literally walked out. I'm like, no. Or people with overwhelming perfumes and colognes, going into like Bath and Body Works when they've got their spraying and stuff. It's like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
so these are different signs for you to recognize. You can tell if somebody's lying to you.
that's
You've got,
that's the that's the double-edged one, because you're absolutely correct.
yeah,
But in my case, it's so frustrating because I know you're lying to me, but I don't know what the truth is. And there's
yes.
nothing that I can really say that I can prove that you're lying. I just know it, you know? So, what do you do with that?
It depends on the situation. It depends on who it is. If it's, I've had it where it was a coworker, and I went, it is so not worth it to me. It's not worth my time. It's not worth my energy.
Hmm.
If it's somebody close to you, I want you to think about, are they lying to themselves? Like they just don't want to deal with whatever's going on in their lives, so they're giving you some story about it. Um, are they truly lying to you because they're trying to hide something? So you really need to have a sense of what's going on behind the scenes.
Hmm.
And then I want you to ask the question, is it worth your time, effort, and energy to go with somebody and say, I know you're lying to me? Because a majority of the time, they're not going to admit it if they're lying.
Right.
And it's going to cause a lot of uneasy emotions that may not have anything to do with you. So
Right.
it really is like, if it's your significant other, you may want to find out dig a little deeper to find out what's going on.
But I
So
like
that's
that, just
really,
asking yourself, is this a hill I want to die on? Is
yeah,
it worth it?
yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah, it
Okay,
really
cool.
is.
Very cool.
And there's that sense of knowing is huge for empaths. Like, somebody's lying, but that sense of knowing, like, something.
Hmm.
You feel it's about to happen. You sense it about somebody. It's just this innate connection that you have with energy around you, energy around the world. It's just that connection that you have.
Awesome. Now, here's a question that I'm dying to ask you, um, because I've seen this in other groups where someone had a distinct opinion bordering on this is the truth, according to me, right? That all people who have been traumatized as children become empaths as adults. Where is that sound like a true statement to you or no?
All children who were traumatized as
No,
adults,
as
I'm sorry,
children.
as children, become, um, no, I don't agree with that. That's in my opinion.
Hmm.
What I do agree with is, and from my experience and from dealing with my clients and people in my groups, um, empaths are born. Like, we are born. We can have parents who support and honor that and understand that.
Okay.
And sometimes we have parents who do not understand it. And being sensitive as a child was a big fat no no.
Yeah.
Like,
Being a
my parents,
crybaby.
I would be crying. Oh my God, I was the crybaby of the family. And I would be constantly crying and crying. And it would frustrate them because they didn't understand it. And I sure as hell didn't know how to explain it to, anybody.
Right.
I mean, for example, I think it was fourth, maybe fifth grade. The first three weeks of every school year up to college, I would cry incessantly,
Hmm.
nonstop, afraid of dying. What child do you know is afraid of dying?
Yeah, no. Mm-mm.
No. I picked that up from somebody and not understanding it. All of a sudden I had this intense fear of dying,
Mm-hmm.
getting older, not having people around me. It was very traumatic for me. I didn't get it. And I remember trying to explain it, and they're like, what are you talking about? So,
Mm-hmm.
um, so I don't agree with that being, you know, the
Okay.
case. I think we are, and as I look back, younger, I do see it. I do see that sensitivity. I do see that, awareness of nature, awareness of other people, always trying to protect the underdog. Even as a kid, God, I would,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
That underdog protection activity. Yeah, I find even today, like especially online, I have to manage that reactivity in me because it doesn't matter who is the underdog. I will rush to defend them, even if that makes me hypocritical because I can't stand that person. It's like I gotta protect the one that's being attacked because
Mm.
essentially it's the only way I can relieve me being attacked. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. And I kind of learned something
Mm.
from this because I was always the one to put my nose into it to defend whoever I felt was being abused or being attacked. And I did it with my sister and my nephew. This is a couple of years ago. And it got to the point where it was like, oh my God, I am not allowing them to come together and figure this out for themselves. Because now I'm trying
Mm-hmm.
to defend, to let this go, clear the energy. And it got to the point where I said, oh God, I can't get involved in this because this is not for me to get involved in. Mind you, if it's there's different levels to underdog too.
Mm-hmm.
Someone's being abused or hit or,
Yeah.
being really badly bullied. That's a totally separate situation where yes, your voice to help somebody, you need that.
Mm-hmm.
So please understand there's,
Yeah. There's a big
definite.
difference between reacting out of a space of I'm uncomfortable with how this feels for me and being
Mm,
aware of the dynamics between those people and what is it that they need to process
mhm.
through to get to their next levels and staying out of the way if necessary.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. It makes sense. Absolutely.
Because there's things that we definitely need to do, get involved and stand up for, and then there's other things where it's I'm going to let them fight it out because they need to figure out and learn to communicate with one another.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Now, what are some of the other techniques that empaths can use to deal with how they might be affected during this coronavirus? I mean, we're locked in with our families. Um, Everybody might be doing their different thing. Joe Blow over here has no problem with watching Call of Duty the movie for the 15th time. You know, somebody over here is like all into the Hallmark Christmas in March series they're binging or whatever. How can we not protect ourselves, but literally stay in the flow of, oh, well, that was an interesting thought that just flew by.
Yep. Yes, yes. What that is and what it's consistency, it's creating rituals, it's consistency with those rituals every single day. It is like, for example, I have a journal, and in my journal, I will journal every single day, and I have certain aspects of my journals. And for me to start my day off right, I need to focus on these things.
Mm-hmm.
And it gets my head in a space where I'm like, all right, today's feeling, for example, I love to pick a feeling. It's peace. And I have a little rock too, a little peace rock that I'll hold on to. But I'll hold on to that feeling, and anything that pulls me away from that feeling, I will stop and say, huh, what can I do to resolve this issue that will bring me back to peace? And sometimes the
Nice.
best thing we can do is to stand back, observe, and come back to respond at a later date, because responding right then and then will probably be more of a reaction. Um, like these are things, rituals, journaling, meditating, some type of exercise, and they could be 5 minutes at a shot. I'm not saying 30 minutes here, 30 minutes here. No, 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes. Really check in with yourself, how you're feeling. Open communication with your current person that you're living with so you don't kill each other. Like Saturday, for example, was a really heavy day for me. And it's been kind of tough, being in the coronavirus and being, all that tension of what's going on. And
Well, yeah, and
I've
you're in
learned,
New York too.
I'm in New York. Oh yeah, we are like on massive lockdown. But I've learned to say to my husband, I am very clingy today and I need extra support. Like I've learned to say that. And I've learned to hear him say, I've got it, or I'm sorry, hon, I don't have it. And then I need to refocus on another supportive outlet for myself to get what I need. So that's really big for empaths. And
Huge.
using your tools and grounding, and the empath symbol's great. And so is being open and having that flow of those emotions going through you.
Awesome. For those who don't know, can you expand a little bit on what is grounding and how people can do that for themselves?
Okay, well, I have my bowl I love. I created it, and thank God I got sand. It was funny. I picked up sand, bags of sand before we all got locked down. But maybe creating a bowl of dirt or sand where you can play with to ground, or going outside and putting your feet in the grass, that connects you to the earth. That helps pull out of you all these things that you're holding on to that's not yours. Hugging a tree. And if that doesn't work, people are like, oh my God, you could do a visualization, like connecting yourself from the universe down to the earth. It's what resonates with you, what's
Hmm.
easiest for you, what will make you do it. So if you don't like these things, you're not going to do it. So you have to come up with something that you're going to say, wow, this is cool. I want to do this. And that is something that you will do. And that's something I constantly keep telling my clients. If you're bored, let's shift it, let's change it up, because it's something that you need to constantly and consistently be doing for yourself. Self-care, taking care of yourself, making sure you're okay.
Excellent, excellent. Now, I want to point out to everybody who's watching, we do have down in the ticker there where you can go to get the ebook that Trisha has provided for us, absolutely free of charge. Of course, you will be signing up for her list to get tips and tricks and insights later on, which have always been good in my experience since I've been following her. So I definitely encourage you to go there, sign up, get the download, and use the information that she's giving you, because she's got some really good insights on what it takes to navigate just being an empath to begin with, but specifically during this time when there's so much chaos going out there, there's so much fear, there's so much uncertainty of how long is this going to last, and how are we going to make it through. There's a lack of normalcy and an aversion to returning to what was normal before that creates this entire vortex, if you will, of emotional instability that empaths
Yeah.
are being subjected to. So, whatever information that you can get to make it better for you, I highly encourage you get it. And Trisha's got some good stuff.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, final thoughts. Anything that you would like to leave our listeners with before we go?
I find it's real important to make sure you're learning what energy is yours and what's not. Create your empath symbol. Be open. to the energy flowing through you so you're not getting stuck and creating more havoc. Grounding. Do something that you're going to enjoy doing every single day for yourself so that you have these self-care practices, these rituals in place. Because the truth of it is, the happier we are within ourselves as people, the easier the emotions flow through us.
That's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much for joining me today, Trisha. I
Yeah.
really enjoyed it, and I hope you did as well. Have a fantastic week ahead.
Thank you. You too.
When you open yourself up to actual energy work, recovery progresses so much faster. That recovery is possible. You do not have
Unmute
to
me.
live as
Okay.
a victim until your
Wait.
last
Press Alt
days.
A.
You have unbelievable strength, and I know that
Unmute now.
because you're
Okay.
still here. Do you want to create something completely unrecognizable with your life? I can show you how.